We're back. Bill Cleveland, our guest. Bill on the road, what I hope turns out to be many, many segments with Bill. Bill is a travel reporter, and he travels around the country, and he'll come each and every week and tell us all about it. His new book out is Presidential Road Trips, 100 Places to Explore and Experience, where all fine books are sold, including Amazon. Bill, let's talk about, I hate to ask you if you have a favorite, so I'll tell you my favorites, but Sagamore Hill in Oyster Bay, Long Island with Teddy Roosevelt. I don't know why that strikes me as such a good one, but I really enjoyed that.
Well, that's aren't you from that area? You're from Long Island, right?
Yeah.
I totally agree. I got to see it just a few months ago, actually. It was one of the last ones because you kind of have to really want to get there, right? I mean, it's not like it's in the middle of the country. You got to take a little bit of a trip to get there. That's a fantastic one. There's another one in New York that I absolutely loved that was on my list to get to as well, and it was Ulysses S. Grant's cottage up in the Adirondack Mountains. It was the place where he spent the last, I think it was 28 days of his life, maybe last 30 days of his life. He wrote his memoirs there, and that was unbelievable to just be standing next to the two leather chairs that were propped together because the president, he had throat cancer, couldn't sleep in a normal bed, so he was propped up on these leather chairs at night. And I'm a really big believer in going to places and really experiencing history firsthand and standing in the spots that are so historic, because you can read books, you can read history books, you can watch a documentary on PBS, whatever. But when you're actually standing in the homes of these places, you really get a new perspective on who these people were. And I always tell people too, it really doesn't matter what your political beliefs are, whether you're liberal, conservative, when you're standing in their house, and you learn, kind of their quirks of what they did when they lived here and how they grew up. And you kind of have a different appreciation for these people, and you see them in a slightly different light than you might have otherwise.
So it's so funny you mention that, because looking at your book, you talk about your trip to Springfield, Illinois, to go see Abraham Lincoln's house, and you had the same reaction I did walking up into the second story where he has his bedroom, and you're holding on to the railing as you're going up these steep stairs, and you think to yourself, that's the same railing Abraham Lincoln held every night. And you think to yourself, when in the world did you ever think you would be in the same place as Abraham Lincoln?
No, you're absolutely correct, and it is a really neat experience. And I was just talking about this with somebody earlier today. I booked I'll be going on a book tour next year, which will be a lot of fun. I'm going to a lot of these historic sites. I'll be speaking. Today I booked an event with the Benjamin Harrison presidential site. You probably didn't even know Benjamin Harrison was a president in Indianapolis. But I was telling her that, it's kind of a shame that I don't think most people even realize how many of these places have been preserved and how many places that you can go and actually, like we're talking about, use the handrail that the president used. Or, one of my favorites from earlier this year was down in Warm Springs, Georgia. FDR's, it was kind of his little getaway that he had in Georgia. He'd go down there to bathe in the warm springs. They thought that maybe it would help with his polio. But you can walk through this house and you literally are standing in the room where he died. He was having a portrait painted back in 1945 and had a stroke and ended up dying right there. So you're standing like right there where all this history happened. And it's like that for every single one of these sites. Something happened, or just to be in the presence of, an American president, like that's a pretty cool experience.
Yeah, one of the did you make it to LBJ's home or library down in Austin, Texas? That was fascinating for lots of reasons, but you have to give them credit because they portrayed LBJ, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and they let the history really tell the story, good times and bad times.
So real quick, yeah, I could do 10 hours talking about LBJ. It was one of the most wild and bizarre presidents of our lifetime, our history. But my favorite part of touring the home of President Johnson was going into the closet where they had all of the giveaway items that LBJ would give away. He loved having his name on things, and he would give away electric toothbrushes. He would give away Zippo lighters. He would get anything you could think of. He had his name plastered onto it, and not that different from Trump, I suppose. And they had a whole closet just full of this stuff. And to see it in person, it was pretty neat.
What was your thoughts of Reagan's library and Reagan's home?
Reagan's presidential library is super cool. Love being able to walk through the Air Force One that he used when he was president. There's also one in Dayton, Ohio. I put this in the book. There's the Air Force Museum is there in Dayton, and you can walk through. They have this presidential hangar. Okay, so it's got, I think, 8 different presidential aircraft, including the Air Force One that was used by 7 different presidents. Most notable would have been John F. Kennedy. They used the plane to bring his body back from Dallas after he had been assassinated. And you can walk through the Air Force One. It's a really cool museum, absolutely free. And yeah, you see that plane, Eisenhower's plane, Truman's plane. There's a bunch of them that you can see. It's a really cool museum.
You can walk through the plane that brought Kennedy's body back.
Right. Step right over it. Yes.
Wow. Reagan's library, where they have the Air Force One, where you can go into it. It's shockingly pedestrian. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a sign.
You've seen the movies, and you think, "Woohoo, here we go!" And you're like, "This is it. This is the Air Force One." It's not disappointing because there are certain things that they point out that are pretty neat historical wise. But you're right. It is not what you would think in the movie.
They have
maybe it is now. I don't know.
They have a little, it's certainly not the West Wing. They have a little wooden box with a little small TV. And a VCR sort of attachment, and it says, "Do not play top secret VCR tapes on this VCR."
Yeah, no, we've come a long way, baby. Yeah, I think the Air Force One probably looks a lot different today.
Bill, can you hold on through the break? We got one more segment to do with you.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Bill Cleveland is our travel guru. BillOnTheRoad.com is the website. In his book, Presidential Road Trips, 100 Places to Explore and Experience the History of American Presidents, Amazon, and also BillOnTheRoad.com. It's America at Night with McGraw Milhaven. Back in a moment.
From the heart of America, this is America at Night with McGraw Milhaven.
Bill on the Road, our travel segment, the first one of what I hope to be a number and a long-running segment here on the show with Bill Cleveland. BillOnTheRoad.com is his website. He has a new book out, Presidential Road Trips, 100 Places to Explore and Experience the History of American Presidents. Bill, take me through what is it you're working on? What can we look forward to? Where are you now? What's going on?
Right now I'm in St. Louis, Missouri, freezing my butt off, ready to go to Palm Springs, California. So we're counting down the days for that. So what do I have going on? McGraw, I'm incredibly blessed. People who, your listeners may not know this about me or know anything about me, but I consider myself to be one of the luckiest people in the world because I get to travel, and I get to travel. In theory, I travel full time. In 2022. I sold my home in the St. Louis area, and I sold everything inside of it. And I don't even know if you knew this, but I got rid of everything, and basically all I had left were maybe like 2 or 3, small cardboard boxes, some sentimental things, and just decided to go full time. I had been covering travel for 13 years, or I guess at that time it would have been 11. But I decided just instead of coming back to a home base, let's just do it. Let's just go see America, see the world, see what I can see. And so the first road trip that I did after I sold my house was 262 days in a row. I just kept driving, and I went to, I think, my God, I went to like 36 different states. went all the way down through the Carolinas into Florida, down the Mississippi Gulf Coast, Route 66, up the Pacific Coast Highway, a bunch of national parks. It was an absolute blast. And so I continue to travel full time, take a little time off here and there. I get to visit with family and friends along the way. That's code word for being a mooch and sleeping on somebody's couch occasionally. But it's just an absolute thrill, and I consider myself incredibly lucky. And really one of the cool things about what I do full time now is I get to visit these quirky roadside attractions. So if it's the world's largest ball of twine, which actually that's one I haven't seen yet, but yeah, the world's largest mailbox, or the whatever, I'm always pulling off the road and finding cool things, always meeting really neat, interesting people, and really just having the time of my life. And so for folks that want to follow along when we're not on the air, I have a Facebook page, which is facebook.com/BillOnTheRoad. Always posting pictures and videos of things that I'm doing while I'm out there. But starting, I guess, next week, I'll head down to Arkansas, hitting up a couple national parks, and then but I'm working my way out to the West Coast. So
now,
the good news is I get to live like a retired person now.
Do you live in an RV, or how do you do this? You sleep in your car?
The hardest thing it is the hardest thing in the world to explain to people, but in a nutshell, when I travel, I work with a lot of tourism offices. Pretty much every city, county, certainly every state has what we call a tourism office. And so they help me find lodging along the way. I mentioned truly, I've made so many friends, McGraw, all over this country, that if I wanted to, I would have a place to sleep every night for the entire year. Like, just because people are just so gracious, or they feel sorry for me. That could be it too. So I'll visit with family and friends around the country. Maybe I do Airbnb occasionally, but never slept in the car. Knock on wood here. In 13 years, I've never had to sleep in my car.
What a great story, and I love it. I mean, Wanderlust, I could never do it, but the fact that you're doing it, and it's a time of your life. It's a great story, and you get to come here each week and talk about it and post pictures on your blog and the website and everything else. So talk about your website for a second, because apparently people come to your website from all different places with all different search engines. What's going on there?
Yeah, so it's not to get too technical, but there's a thing called analytics that most of the people, if you have a website, you can kind of dial in and see who's coming to your site and see what sort of key phrases that they're using. And I'll keep this brief. I don't know how much time we have, but about 2 or 3, I guess it's been 3 years ago, I decided to do a road trip down. Have you ever heard of a place called The Villages in Florida? Do you know what this is?
Yeah.
It's a retirement community. I think you have to be over 55. There are tons of rumors and things swirling around about this place, and I had heard a bunch of them. I heard that it's like swingers everywhere. I've heard that it's the highest STD per capita in the world. I'm like, oh, good grief, come on. So I decided to go, and I went down. It was about this time of the year. No, I guess it would have been right around Christmas, because I went down. I got an Airbnb for like 3 nights. I stayed with this really nice older lady, and I get there, and she's like, "Do you want to go with me to Christmas Eve service?" Sure, I'll go with you. So I get there and I sit down on the pew, McGraw, my hand to God. I'm in the church no more than 5 minutes. A guy comes over to me and he's like, "Oh, where are you from?" I said, "St. Louis." He goes, "I bet you think we're all swingers here, don't you? We're in church. It's Christmas music is playing." And this guy's talking. And I said, "Well, no, sir, I don't know yet. Let me do some investigating." And, you can find the story on my website. And I basically did some digging around. And, one of the rumors was that people would take these loofah sponges. You know what I'm talking about? Those things.
Yes. Yeah,
And,
yeah,
and they
yeah.
would put them on their cars. And people were like, oh, see, that's how they get together. They put their loofahs on the car, and that's how you know that's one of your people. Well, what was going on was that you got a bunch of really old people that couldn't figure out how to get back to their car when they left the grocery store. So that's how they found their cars, were the different colored loofahs on the car. So that wasn't a swinging thing. The upside down pineapples, I didn't see any of that. But here's the deal. So this article that I wrote about my time in the villages, this thing went viral. Okay. And I still get, every week I probably get $12 in royalty from this article that is still floating around cyberspace. So at the end of the year, I always check what are the key words that people are using in Google to find Bill on the Road. And I have a lot of great stories, things I'm really proud of. Unfortunately, at the end of every year, what brings more people to Bill on the Road? The phrase is swingers in the villages. So that, friends, is what I am known for. I've never been invited to any swinging parties. I don't know much about it, but that apparently is what Google believes is my, that's the top thing for Bill on the Road.
So what you're saying is that if people want to find BillOnTheRoad.com, just type in swingers at the villages, and it'll take you right to Bill on the Road.
I am not even joking. You can do it right now while we're on the air. I guarantee you it is the number one thing that'll pop up on that search engine. You'll see my day in the villages or whatever it's called. And I laugh all the way to the bank, McGraw. I get a little
God
check
love
every
you.
month
I love it,
so,
Bill.
yeah.
Bill, I love it. I told this story earlier, and I told you when I first called you up and said, would you come on to the show in a weekly travel segment? In your mind, you have these things. If you ever get a show, who would you want to call? What kind of segments would you want to do? And you were at the top because you got a great personality, you're a great storyteller, and you're seeing the world, you're seeing the country, and you're going to come back and tell us each and every week. So it's great. The book is called Presidential Road Trips: 100 Places to Explore, Experience the History of American Presidents and Loofah Sponges, apparently. You can find it by Googling the villages, the swingers at the villages, or BillOnTheRoad.com. Now, look, here's the deal. I'll tell you, but I have a great story of visiting Harry Truman's house in Independence, Missouri, about 20 years or so ago. That's one of the great presidential houses of all time. I'll tell that story in the third hour. But Bill, we'll let you go. We'll let you get back to what you're doing. I guess we'll check in with you from Palm Springs next Thursday. We're going to have you on Thursdays, and that's the plan. So thanks for checking in, Bill, and thanks for all you do for us.
All right. Hopefully, I won't be broadcasting from my car. We'll see how it goes.
Make sure there's not a loofah sponge on the roof or something. There you go. Bill, have yourself. All right, have a good night. Bill Cleveland, ladies and gentlemen. The website is BillOnTheRoad.com, and the book, one more time, is Presidential Road Trips: 100 Places to Explore and Experience the History of American Presidents. I don't have